Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Mr. West's Neck of the Woods. This is February, and here in Wyoming, uh, fishing right now is ice fishing. And ice fishing is one of the most popular sports in this area right now. And never done it before, but I've heard a lot of friends of mine, a lot of people talk about it, and it seems intriguing. But like I said, I've never done it. But I've had a few family members and quite a few friends that have participated in it, and I thought I would share a couple of stories with you about some of my family members that have actually experienced ice fishing. Now, I've got an uncle that lives down in Texas. His name's Billy Bob, and he's never ice fished before. And so he went all out, and him and some friends decided instead of going ice fishing in America, heading up north in America, or even going to Alaska or even into Canada, they went all out and decided to go to Greenland. And so Billy Bob and his buddies get on a plane, they fly up to Greenland, and they are experiencing, none of them had ever experienced ice fishing before, so they decide that they're going to go experience it. And so they make their way up, they get to the outskirts, about to head to the lake, and they stop in one of the local stores to get the equipment that they need to fish, the bait and some of the equipment. So while they're in there, they were conversing with the owner, who told them that they would definitely need ice picks. And so my uncle kind of, he kind of shrugged it off a little bit, but his buddies said, well, hey, we've never done this before. He's the owner. He probably knows a whole lot more than we do. And so they said, well, what do you suggest? And he said, probably a couple of them. That there's four of you, and so two of you can pick the ice. The other two can sit there and watch, and then you guys can rotate in and out, and that way nobody gets worn out. And so my uncle said, let's do it. Asked him how much they were. They were $10 a piece, which is a little pricey, but when you've never done it and this is your first experience, man, you go all out. So they bought two of the ice picks and they went out onto the lake. And a couple hours later, my uncle shows back up to the store, and the gentleman is still there, and he goes, hey, how's it going? And he goes, not good. He said, we need to buy some more ice picks. He said, let's get two more, that way everybody can be chipping. And so the store owner said, sure. So he sold him two more. My uncle went back out to the lake, and probably 2 hours later, they sent my uncle back in again. He comes back in the store, and I mean, he is exhausted. You can tell that he's fatigued, sweat, everything. I mean, it is rough. And so he tells the store owner, he goes, you know what? We just need to buy the rest of it. He said, we've broken two of the ice picks, and the other two they've bent. We're still using them, but we're just going to buy the rest of your supply. The store owner looks at my uncle and he goes, typically 2 ice picks are plenty to get the job done. He goes, I don't understand why. I mean, the ice is fairly thick, but not too thick to where it would damage the ice picks. I mean, they're made for this. He goes, what's the deal? And my uncle said, well, he said, we're almost through we're almost through the ice where we can cast our boat out on the lake and start our fishing, but we need a few more ice picks. One quick question for you. Do you know what you call a fish with a bow tie? Sophisticated. That's exactly what you call them. Do you know where a fisherman goes to get his hair cut? He goes to the barber shop. I thought you guys would enjoy that. One other story that I'd like to share with you. Another uncle of mine went, and he actually went up into Canada, into the Northwest Territory, and they went ice fishing up there. And my uncle was with some friends of his that have actually fished quite a bit. And up in the Northwest Territory, there are a lot of indigenous people that are there, and my uncle was pretty excited about meeting them, seeing them in their culture and in their environment. And sure enough, when they were up there fishing, there was a native that was up there that was fishing as well, and he was probably about, I'd say 20, 30 yards from my uncle and his friends, and he was landing everything. He would put his hook into the water. 2 minutes later, he'd have a fish. He'd put it back in. 2 or 3 minutes later, he'd have another fish. And my uncle and their friends, they had nothing. And so my uncle looked at them and said, "What do you think we're doing wrong?" And they said, "We don't know. But with him being from here, he probably has some insight. Let's go find out." And so they stopped what they were doing and they went over to this man and they asked him, what are we doing wrong and what do we need to do? And the man looked up at him and he went, well, my uncle and his friends thought that he was speaking his language, and so they were not familiar with it, and so they said, "Sir, we didn't understand you. Could you share that with us again?" And he adamantly, and again they were dumbfounded. "We have no clue what you're saying. We don't understand your language." Finally, the man took his glove off, put his hand up to his mouth, spit the worms in his mouth, and he said, "You got to keep the worms warm." And as always, peace out from the West.